Hello, LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. I experiment with where I send this. And if either of you have LinkedIn Live open, you may want to shut that down so we don't get any echo. Anyway, hello, everyone. Many of you know me, but in case you don't, I'm Beth Granger. I'm a trainer, consultant, and speaker on the topic of unleashing the power of LinkedIn and networking. And I love to go live and introduce you to people that I know that you may not know yet. Today, I have with me Dana Hilmer and Wendy Perrotti. Or I should have said it the other way around because of the way that we're in the thing. But there, so
medical order.
That's true. They are, and I'm going to read this to make sure I get everything in there that I want to say. They are midlife reinvention experts and the co-creators of Camp Reinvention, and we're going to hear about both those things. And not that any of us are in midlife, but there is a lot of change that goes on during this time and change in the world. And so I think we're going to have a wonderful conversation. They are on a mission, and their mission is to help women get over getting older and create a second half of life that they're wildly excited about. And who doesn't want that? Welcome, ladies.
Yay!
Yay! Exactly. Thanks so much for having us, Beth.
So great I love doing these pop-up lives. Sometimes I plan them a week ahead, I promote them, but then sometimes there's a conversation, either a change on LinkedIn or something that happens that makes me say, hey, I'm just going to go live. And so great that you could join me. All right. So talk to me about this midlife reinvention. Why? How did this happen for both of you?
I'll let you go
that's
first.
The $1 million question, right? So, how did this happen for us individually, or why are we into midlife reinvention?
Both. In
Which
other
story
words,
you want? Okay.
There's a story behind this.
There's a story behind the story,
yes.
Right? Like, just like every woman that we've ever met, we had a life that progressed, right? We started building things. In my life, I started out as a spokesperson for a major national nonprofit. I loved the job. I was great at it. And one of the requirements was when the wind blew someplace in the world, I had to be on a plane in 4 hours. When I decided to have a family, it's not the way I wanted that to go. So I pivoted. In that time, my husband started a business. He needed support and help. So I pivoted and we built a really successful company. And we did not like it. It wasn't how we wanted to spend our time or our life. And we both pivoted at that point. And for me, it was, what is it that I do all the time that I really love, that lights me up, that brings out the best in me, that makes me feel like my life has purpose and meaning? And it was coaching people to move them forward. My education's in psychology. It's the best of me. And so I started a coaching business, and it was really successful. And through that, I met Dana, and she had a successful coaching business. And we thought, what if we brought all these mad skills together and made it fun for women over 50 to make these transitions? And that was Camp Reinvention.
I love it. I love it. And Dana, what about you? What brought you to this place?
You know, it's interesting. Nobody's career or life is a straight line. And I also have a pivot story in my career as well. I started off in magazine publishing, and I moved my way up the ladder. You know, you kind of start checking the boxes, marketing assistant, associate, and then I found myself in the corner office being a director. And honestly, I was I was more miserable than any other time in my life. And what I realized is I was checking the boxes. You know, I was kind of following what I thought success should look like. After all, I majored in marketing in college, right? And there were a lot of things I loved about my career over the course of the years, but ultimately it wasn't what I wanted to continue doing, because quite frankly, I didn't find any reward in advertising pages. At the end, at the end of the day, that's what my job came down to. So what I learned is you can be really good at something, and it doesn't mean it's right for you. And I think at that stage of my life, it was the first time that I really asked myself, what does success look like for me? And I never really asked myself that. I think I just kind of did what the good girl should do. I went to college and I did all the right things and everything looked great on paper. But at the end of the day, what was important to me and what was the impact I wanted to have, and what does success look like for me as I get older? And what I really realized is I was not living my definition of success. And so I also pivoted. After starting a family, I did a few cool projects. I launched a podcast called the Lifestyle Mom Radio Cafe. I did a lot of marketing consulting. I had a book published called Blindsided by a Diaper. But it was when I discovered the world of positive psychology, which is the science of happiness and human potential and flourishing and goal setting and resilience. When I discovered that science, I knew that I was in the place I wanted to be. So I ended up studying for a year and becoming certified, becoming a teaching assistant in the program, and then went back and got my coaching certification. So very much like Wendy, kind of realizing that this is my sweet spot. This is the impact I want to make on the world. And why women over 50? Not only is it the audience, the place that we are in life, but I think this is a time where everybody is reassessing. What do we want the second half of our life to be? What do we want the second half of our career to be? And I think so many women like ourselves feel like you hit this age and now it's like we're raring to get started in many ways. It's like we may have had certain successes or we may have put our dreams on hold, whatever it is. But this is the time where we can focus on ourselves, and we have a huge long lifespan ahead of us. There are more women over 50 than any other time in history, which I find really exciting. So we are like a force to be reckoned with. And, we have longer lifespans. We have bigger pocketbooks than any other part of our, part of demographic. We have more education. We're more accomplished. Like there's so much we can do at this age of our life if we have the courage to listen to our voice and to be true to ourselves. And that's really what we want to help women do.
I love that. And I'll tell you, many people who know me know this, but and I don't remember if we've talked about it when we first met, but I have my own reinvention story. Same thing, successful, never thought of starting my own business, got laid off 11 years ago. Yep. And I'm an accidental entrepreneur, and I would not have it any other way.
I love that, accidental entrepreneur.
My own life and destiny. And I think this past year and a half, especially, people are assessing what success looks like to them. I know for myself, I found an amazing work-life balance this past year that I never had before because I wasn't running around on trains and cars and and I really like it. So the goal is how to continue that. Yeah. So, all right, where do we begin? Let's see. So we talked about that, how you focus on women of a certain age, as they used to say. And I imagine some women are looking to grow in their career. They've realized they like their career. Some maybe they're looking to change. Some may be starting businesses. What do you see when you speak to women?
When we started Camp Reinvention, the purpose of the project, the purpose of the process is to grow the woman behind the goal, right? We're all rock stars when we're at our best in our lane or pushing the envelope into that next lane when it's right for us, right? That's when we're rocking it. And we've all, no matter what your history is, we've all had moments of being there. And at the same time, every single one of us has moments of, as Dana was saying, we want more, like a horse with its nose at the gate, right? Like we're ready to go. And yet it's not clicking. For some reason, it's not clicking. We meet with partial success. It's fleeting success. This thing that we want, this thing that we're longing for. And now at this, with a couple of decades under our belts, right? There's some urgency behind it. And the same things happen over and over again. And so Camp Reinvention is really about getting real clarity on what those goals are, and then finding those pesky little underlying patterns that get in the way of the things that we really want, so that we can rock them the same way that we've rocked those things that don't have an emotional tie for us.
And I was going to say that. Well, and first of all, for people who may not know, Camp Reinvention is a program that Wendy and Dana are putting on that they'll be able to tell us a little bit more about that. But when you talk about these things that stop people, do you find it's similar things? Everybody has similar things. Is it all in their head?
Oh,
Things
totally.
that stop them versus the outside world. I mean, yes, there are outside forces, but is it mostly inside things that stop people?
Yes. And it's so refreshing. First of all, yes. And everything that stops us or keeps us stuck is what's going on between the ears, right? What's beautiful about being in a program like Camp Reinvention is you realize you're not alone. I think we all are, we all have our own fights that we're fighting. We all have the things that we're wrestling with. And all too often, we think we're alone wrestling with that. And we even question ourselves, like, what's wrong with us? And I think what's wonderful is when you bring women together that are all wanting to create some sort of positive change in their life, the conversations are so honest, and you realize, holy smokes, I get these women. They end up being so close to each other too. When we did our first program, it was actually a program that was 6 months that started with a retreat. So these women were live. The women that were in the program from the very beginning, this cohort of women still meet every week. Like they are each other's posse, right? And so what happens is it's really hard to change your life in your normal life. You're busy doing what you do. You're busy with your regular default patterns. We all operate on habit. Everybody around us, even if there are champions, they say, go you, they don't always feel comfortable with you changing, right?
Yeah.
Because that makes them uncomfortable. So you really need to be with people that are looking to make similar changes in their life, because together you elevate each other. So really, really rich experience. And yes, everything that keeps us stuck, most of what keeps us stuck is what's going on in our head.
I love it. I love it. I know, I'm fascinated by community. So the fact that you said that these people still meet, and to me, having a community of people, whether it's geographic, your town, or interest-based. So I'm a group that you may be involved in. I'm in, for instance, National Speakers Association.
Yeah.
So we get each other. We know what goes on in our lives. I think that's so very important. So I'm seeing a lot about this whole Great Resignation thing. Do you see women in midlife being part of that? Is it a real thing?
Oh, yeah.
It's a real thing. The statistics are like heartbreaking.
Is it their choice or
not always? I think there's a statistic. Is it Urban Institute, Dana, that there's a statistic that said women between over half of the women between 50 and 54 will leave their jobs involuntarily in a year's period. And so that ageism thing, that is real. Aging out of jobs, industries aging out because times are changing, and it being more difficult for quote unquote older, which we don't like to think of ourselves as, right? Women taking longer to find jobs. All of that is real. It's 100% real. And so if you're feeling it, if you're feeling under the weight of it, it's not you, it's real, it's out there. And yet we've run this program now for over a year with all women who are over 50 years old, many of which are making or were making career pivots. And they're the outliers. They found jobs that were bigger than the job that they had before. They found jobs in completely different industries. They started successful businesses. So just because those statistics are real does not mean you need to be one of them. It's absolutely possible. And that's what we're all about, right? Finding the way to not be the statistic, growing into that other version that isn't.
And it's an opportunity too. I know I always had the idea of starting a business, but would have never taken the perceived risk to leave a good job to do it. So
Yeah.
I'm so very lucky. I mean, looking back, it might not have felt like that at the time, but
You're
certainly
right.
now it
Turning
does.
that turning that challenge into a beautiful
Yeah.
opportunity. Yeah, it's
Ah,
interesting. Speaking about the Great Resignation, we call it the Great Reinvention, and it's a beautiful kind of coming together of the changes that we might be thinking about anyway at this age, and this collective reset that's happened with COVID. So many people are thinking about, what do I really want now? What is meaningful to
yeah.
me? There's a work-life balance now that people have experienced that they want to continue, and a freedom with that. And at this age, we're thinking about, what is the impact? What is it that I want to do? How can I best share my gifts, right? So the program that we've created is a camp reinvention. We're calling it our Success Accelerator. Say that 10 times fast. Success Accelerator.
That is hard.
Help women to change their career by the end of the year. And this is for that woman who is just itching to make a change. It might be, I need to find a job. I got laid off. It might be, I want to pivot. I want to take what I've done for 10 or 20 or 30 years and bring those skills and bring them over here. It might be, I don't want to do a job anymore. I want to start a business or a side gig.
Yeah.
But it's for that woman who is really looking to make a change and to do it quickly. And so we've put together a program that's crazy robust. It takes our 12-week camp reinvention process, all the teachings that are needed and coaching support that is needed to become the person you want to be and to grow into that person that can create the life that you want. And we've brought in over 25 experts, yourself included, Beth. So we were so happy to have you.
I'm excited.
Yeah, 25 experts that are teaching all the things that you need to do to either, and I'm going to create two categories, to either find a job or start a business. And as you know, Beth, and you speak to this all the time, finding a job, starting a business, connecting in the way that you need to create these things you want to create is so different now than it was maybe when you were looking at a job 20 years ago, right? The whole process is so different. So with the finding a job track, we're bringing in experts like you to teach LinkedIn and to teach digital resume writing. How do you create your resume so it gets picked up by the ATS systems? And we're hearing from so many women that they're overqualified for the jobs they're applying for, and they're not even getting a friggin' interview. And it's because their resume is not optimized. So we're bringing in that expert. How to not let ageism hold you back, right? How to not be a victim of it. David Harry Stewart from Aegis is coming in to speak to that. Lee Woodruff is speaking about, how can you amplify your presence and communicate with confidence. We have a negotiation expert, a how to tell your pivot story expert. So all these different experts that are going to help you find a job and to navigate this new world of how do you do it now in this digital era, right? And then we have a similar lineup of experts for those women that want to start a business or a side gig. So everything from the legal 1, 2, 3 to the social media, how to build a website, how to do sales, how do you know your numbers and create a consistent revenue stream, your branding story, your branding creative, how to pitch the media with 2 anchor women, which is really amazing. So these experts are all there to help you. Once you know what you want to create, you might not know yet what you want, right? A lot of women that are itching for a change may not know. We'll solve that during the camp reinvention process. But once you know, we have all the experts that are going to help you. And so it's going to help you cut to the chase, not have to figure it out alone, and to have the support of these amazing experts that are there solely to teach you and to help you and to answer your questions.
I wonder how many of the people that are coming in to be these experts have their own reinvention stories. I wonder if you
all do.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. I mean, the number, I don't remember the exact statistic, but the number of people in general starting businesses and the number of people, women included, over 45 starting businesses, just it's skyrocketing.
Yeah.
And so I think it's fascinating, and I'm excited
the other
about
thing
it.
that's fascinating is we saw a stat. I'm sorry.
I have a question for you. Yeah. So first of all, if you're watching this live, feel free to comment. Feel free to ask a question. If you're watching it on replay, I know a lot of people do. You can also ask questions, and we'll be able to get back to you. But if someone is in a place where they want change, either because they can't do it anymore with what they've been doing for whatever reason, their choice, someone else's choice, or they have an idea and now's the time, what would you say the very first step that they should take is?
Come to camp. I would say, I think that when you're in a transformation, when you don't know what's next for you, we're so wired to learn, to gather information, to get facts, to do the research, right? To get those ahas. But the thing that we're hesitant to invest in or to lean into is that part of us that is between the ears, that part of us that's getting in our own head, getting in our own way over and over, because there's shame attached to it. We think, I should be able to do this on my own. I should be able to, I know what to do. Why can't I do it? Right. And so that's the sticking point. If you're stuck with what's next, I can guarantee you that's the sticking point. And I can also guarantee you need a community and a safe place to sort it out. And when you listen to all of the different things that we talk about here with the experts and the process and everything that we do, it can feel overwhelming. And in fact, I think why so many of the women, like a remarkable percentage of the women who have gone through our process have had such noteworthy success with it, is because we've designed something that suits who you are, where you are in the moment. We're experts at tailoring this process so that it suits who you are and who your life is. Because what Dana and I learned through our own many reinventions and through helping other women reinvent is that one size does not fit all. And unless you're in a place with a support system that's got your back and that can tailor it to you, you're just destined to have to refigure it out again the next time.
I love that. And yes, of course, what you're doing is very special. But the key point is what you said, is having that community behind you. I know I was very lucky that I had a networking group that I didn't even know about networking, right? I was invited. They knew I was starting a business before I did. And having people to give me advice or to have sounding boards, or who had done it themselves and were ahead of me. And I could say, so what did you go through? What mistakes did you make that I shouldn't make? I'll make my own. I think that's a really powerful thing for sure. What else did I want to ask you? There was something else. Well, that's what happens midlife. Sometimes
it's okay, right? We're cool with that.
This is true.
But
I should mention too, Beth, is in the program that we've put together a really strong support system for everybody. So not only are you with people that are doing the program with you, but we have small group accountability pods that Wendy and I will be coaching. So we're there to support people as they're going through the process, as they're hitting those stumbling blocks, because that's going to happen, of course.
Yep.
So we're there to coach and to support people through that process. And also, all the experts, yourself included, have agreed to come in, answer people's questions in real time as they're wrestling with all this stuff.
Yeah.
So, somebody's going to be working on that LinkedIn profile. They're going to say, hey, Beth, wait a minute, you mentioned this. How do I, right? And the experts are there to help. So that, I think, is what's so unique about this program is the learning, of course, is so rich and so deep, but the support is consistent. And so it's going to meet people where they're at. And I think that's going to be a real gift to the people participating in the program.
I love that. Yeah, I think, I look back at the resources or things I didn't know and how great it would have been to have that information or that community or be doing with other people at the same time. It was harder for me because I had to put that together on my own, find groups of people who were doing a certain thing, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Any last thoughts or something that you want to leave people with as they look to the next amazing chapter of their possible reinvention?
I think one thing that comes to mind is I think everybody is so much more ready than they think they are. So many women are thinking, I need to have the whole plan. I need to know exactly what I'm going to do. I need to have it all figured out before I start. And I want to tell every one of your listeners, whether you join Camp Reinvention or not, you are ready for whatever it is you want to create. Just take the step. Just take the step. And every step is going to give you the information that you need, or more information that you need. So Beth, you didn't have it all figured out, neither do we, right? So you figure it out because you're doing it. And I also do want to mention that the program does start this Thursday, October 14th. So if any of your listeners would love to join us, obviously we invite you to join us. We'd love to welcome you as a camper. I know Beth is going to put a link in the write-up for you. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We'd be happy to hop on the phone. So our email is hello@campreinvention.com. So we'd be happy to chat with anybody.
Yeah, wonderful. And again, if you have questions, reach out to Wendy and Dana, and I will be putting information in the text that goes along with this live broadcast, which will be a replay for those of you watching on replay. This has been so much fun. I'm really looking forward to sharing some of my secrets and wisdom with the group that you've put together, and to meeting the other people who are doing it if I don't know them already. So thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Beth.
Thank you. We're so excited to have you be part of Camp, Beth.
And everyone have a great rest of the day. I have a new thing I heard somewhere and I've borrowed it. I love it. It's think positive, test negative. Bye-bye, everyone.
I love it.
Love it.